Oh, that's good. Okay. Didn't even need it, Kim. All right. Well, good.
I don't usually want it.
Well, that's okay. Yeah, because yeah, we'll see. Whatever. All right. So anyway, yeah, that was pretty good. I do have a question. We're all guys. You know, our youth group at Oakwoods is almost all girls. Yes, what's up, guys? What's going on? You know, I wonder if it has something to do with this. You ever go, your church may be different, but at every church I've been to, when it's Bible school time, we're the guys. I don't know. Anyway, you don't need to do something. All right, so, but you know, what can you do? I do want to say, before I start, this whole thing, it's primarily to you guys, this message. Although I guarantee you, everybody in here, this is going to affect, I think this is a good word that really that God spoke to me, but it's primarily for you. And here's the reality of what I know that some of you may not know. That I do spend a lot of time with young people. That's pretty much, Kim and I have been working with youth for about 20 years, I guess. And yeah, I've been in schools I was in the West District for what, 10, 12 years or so. This has been a lot, and now at Central for about the same 12 years or so. So, and by the way, it's the same. They're the same schools. You can't draw a line in Wills County and one person's different than they're all the same. There's no difference. So I see some things that kids are dealing with that you, as parents and family and friends, you have no idea. Or you can. It's difficult. It's tough, the things that they're having to deal with. But anyway, we'll get started. I am going to be in the book of Luke this morning. If you would like to go ahead and turn, it's in chapter 10, Luke chapter 10. And as you're turning there, I do want to say that my biggest fear this morning is not whether you're going to like me or like what I'm saying. And my biggest concern is not whether we're going to get out on time so we can go eat lunch. I think my biggest fear is that I'm not going to have the courage to say what God wants me to say. And my biggest concern is that you'll hear God speak to you and then just walk out the door unchanged. So with that, let's read Luke chapter 10. I'm going to start in verse 38. I'm just going to read just 5 little verses there. So if you're able to and you would like to, let's all stand for the reading of God's Word here. So I'm going to start in chapter 10, verse 38. It says, "Now it came to pass as they went that he entered into a certain village, and a certain woman named Martha received him into her house. And she had a sister called Mary, which also sat at Jesus' feet and heard his word. But Martha was cumbered about much serving, and came to him and said, Lord, dost thou not care that my sister hath left me to serve alone? Bid her therefore that she help me. And Jesus answered and said unto her, Martha, Martha, thou art careful and troubled about many things, but one thing is needful, and Mary hath chosen that good part, which shall not be taken away from her." Let's pray. Lord God, I pray this morning, God, that you would speak to our hearts, and God, help us to not leave this building unchanged, but God, that you would change how we see you and help us to draw closer to you this morning. And we just ask all this in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, let me see this. Okay, so here's the thing. There's I'm not even going to get into all the problems that you guys have to deal with and all the stuff that's going on in the world, and we all know that it's broken, it's messed up, and it's getting worse, and it's getting bad, right? That's the reality. And I'm assuming it's getting worse than I even know. This probably sounds crazy, but Kim and I don't like watch regular TV. I don't get the news or anything. I have no idea I know that sounds bad. My mom really gets upset about that because you gotta be informed and you gotta know. Yeah, I'm sure people do, but not me. I personally can't. I can't do all the things that I need to do and then have to listen to all the stuff that's going on in the world. So yeah, we just don't. We don't have it. And this phone is, I don't even own a phone. I don't have a phone. And the kids at school are like, how do you live? How do you stand? How does that? Well, here's the thing. If somebody needs to get a hold of me, they call Diane. You'll call my room, right? So I have a phone in my room. I'm good. If I'm at home, I'm with Kim. She has a phone. So I'm good with that. And I'm fortunate to have a job where they will ring a bell and tells me when to start work. And it rings a bell and tells me when to stop work. So what do I need a phone? I don't need it. I'm good. So anyway, it's a lot of things that are problems. But here's the thing. So we sometimes we want to fix things and we want to do what's right. We want to solve these world problems, but sometimes we don't start at the right place. And here's what happened. Martha didn't start at the right place. She didn't start where she needed to. Now I teach chemistry, so I have a question for you. Y'all take chemistry? The chemistry. Okay, so here's the thing. How many liters of carbon dioxide is produced from a combustion reaction with 6 grams of propane gas? Well, here's the thing. To do that, that's one of you can't do that. You just can't make that stuff up. So you have to start at the right place. You have to start, if you're in chemistry class, are you going to take it? Y'all going to take it? I'm not scaring you. Okay, so you have to start at the right place. The first thing you're going to have to do is write out an equation, write out a balanced equation, balance the thing, and then you got to do some conversions. It's called stoichiometry, and it's a way of taking one thing and converting it to something else to find out how much you have. But here's the thing. If you don't start with a balanced equation, you're not going to get the right answer. If you don't start at the right place, you're never going to get it. It's never going to happen. So with all the things going on in the world and all the stuff that you guys have to deal with, if you don't start at the right place, no matter what you do, you're never going to get it. So it's never going to happen. Nothing's ever going to, it's not going to work. So if we look back here on this passage, and we look at Martha. I just want to look at Martha and see what she's dealing with here. So to begin with, it says that she was cumbered. In verse 40, she was cumbered about much serving. Well, we all know that she just had a lot of stuff, and she was doing all her stuff, and she was distracted by all the things that she was having to do, right? A lot of stuff. And you can't tell me that kids today don't have distractions in their lives. And I'm just saying this, adults, it's our problem. It's because of something that we've done. Here's what we've done. We feel like we have to give them distractions. We give them things so that they can become distracted. And we think that's just normal. I have a 2-year-old grandson who can operate, he puts videos on his little iPad and watches them, and he's what have we done, really? We got to distract, so he can be distracted. Here, take this thing, and it's just one more thing that we just give them to, and just to do. You got to be in this group, you got to do this thing, you got to be in this sport, you got to be in this activity, you got to do all these things, and we just created all these distractions. Even in church, do we not? We come up with these things, and we just have these things that become, after a while, just distractions, and just stuff, and it's cumbered. It becomes burdens, things I got to do. I talked to this was a church I was at years and years ago. So it's just kind of, I've heard a lot of this, but this was the comment I got. She said, that's how she started the conversation. Big sigh. You know what that means, right? All the stuff I have to do. Well, I have to sing in the choir. We have choir practice. And decide about all the things that she has to do and all the things. And how sad. You're just doing things just to be doing things. But it's just a distraction. It's just to take you away from what you really need. So Martha was distracted. And if you look at another thing, it says in verse 40, she came and she started complaining to Jesus. So we do that sometimes. We get distracted and then we start complaining. We start whining because things aren't like they're supposed to be. And we don't think they're right because we got distracted. So we start complaining a little bit. And then if you look, this in verse 40 it goes on and says, dost thou not care? Now, whoa. Who? She said, Jesus, you don't even care. You don't care. She accused Jesus of not caring. That's how distracted she got. She got so focused on the stuff that she's doing. She's complaining. She's saying, Jesus, you don't care. She became so self-absorbed. Now, listen, I'm not trying to bring Martha down here, but she's working and she just got so distracted. And that's the thing. We can do things, we can do all the right things for wrong reasons, and it might not go as we hope they would go. I mean, let's think about this. There's a lot of our churches that we got a lot of things going on, but y'all know that the churches in this country are not really being effective, are they? I mean, they're really not. So what's going on? I mean, did y'all know that per capita of people in North Carolina, that Wilkes County has more churches? Did y'all know that? We have more churches per capita of people than any other county in North Carolina. Right? You don't go very far that you don't see a church. I was riding down the road just over where my daughter, she's in Mulberry area, and I'm driving within less than a mile, you'll see another church, and there's another church, and then there's another church, and it keeps going. I have another daughter that she just got a job, but she works for the University of Oregon. She's in Eugene, Oregon. It's a different place. Yeah, whole other world. But yeah, there are not a lot of churches over there. They're just not there. It's a whole different place. But we've got so many churches in this county. And did you know also that we have the highest rate of meth labs? We have a meth problem in this county. And I know that, now listen, I'll tell you, because I've been there where I've heard people say, oh yeah, I know we got a problem. We got homeless problem, we got all this, we got stuff going on. And I would go to my job and do my things with those little blinders on and just say it, but didn't really believe it. Until now I know these people and I know them personally and I've spent time with them and it's tough. It's a real thing. So where's that disconnect at? Where's all the stuff, the stuff that's going on in this county? Now I'm just talking about us, our little part of the world. What's going on that we've got so many churches that they're not being effective? Is it maybe because we got so much stuff going on that we missed that one thing? So if you go on Martha, after she became so self-absorbed, then it says right here, if you look in, it looks in on verse 40, she goes on and she says, at the very end, it says, bid her therefore that she come and help me. She's like demanding God. I'm telling you, he just said, it's not even a question. It's a statement. Martha said, do this. This is what I want you. So she got so distracted, she started complaining. She accused Jesus of not caring. She became so self-absorbed, and she started demanding God that she missed the one thing, and that's what Jesus said. You missed the one thing. What was that one thing? Y'all was singing about the whole time. The one thing is Jesus. That's the one thing that they missed. And if you notice where she was at, where was Mary at? At the feet of Jesus. That's where she was at. And that's the one thing that she missed. We've got these things that take our mind away. I saw this, y'all heard of what's it called? The Occupy Wall Street movement. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, where they're saying, we are, because they're the disproportionate amount of money and the 1% people got all the everything, and what about the rest of us? and they have the signs that says that we are the 99%. Yeah, that sounds good and all, but here's the reality. I was looking at this was online, not on TV, but I saw this. It was called the Global Rich List. If you make above $32,000 a year, you're in the top 1% of the world population. Top 1%. So the majority of us are in the top 1%. We are the 1%. We're the 1%. Guys, do y'all know that it's majority of the world makes less than $2 a day? We're the rich ones. You know Jesus said it's hard for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven. Y'all know it's easier for a camel to enter through the eye of a needle than a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven. I've studied that and I've heard preachers speak about that. And you know what I think Jesus is saying when he said that? Here's what he means. It's hard for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven. That's what he's saying. Because you got all this stuff, it's just distracting. And that's what happened to Martha. She got distracted. Not by just, she was distracted by doing, but we get distracted by things and our stuff. And here's the sad reality. We have so much stuff, and that we save our whole lives. We save up so that we can be distracted from God when we retire. And then we make money and we pass it on to our kids so that they can be distracted from God. We've given them this distraction. We have so much stuff. And we think we don't. We want to complain about the things that we don't have because we're looking around the people around us and saying, well, I don't live up to them. You've heard of trying to keep up with the Joneses? We're the Joneses. We are. We're the ones that the rest of the world's looking at and saying, wow, they got a lot. I remember one time I was spent some time in Honduras, and it was out in a jungly area, and they had nothing. There's nothing there. And we all broke up into little groups, and we were all doing different things. And at the end, when we were getting ready to come back home, we were our whole group was sort of doing a debriefing kind of thing, where we were, how did the week go? You know, just kind of talking about that. I remember one lady just crying and about the poverty, because they didn't have anything. I mean, it's poor. This place is really poor. And I remember thinking, well, I didn't take that away. That's not what I got. She was upset because they didn't have anything. They didn't have material things. And I remember when our little group we were just going through the jungle, crossing logs, finding houses, just going and knocking on doors, talking to people. Had an interpreter because I didn't speak Spanish. But we were just going everywhere. Every single house we went to invited us in, and they listened to us. And they would offer us a seat. And I thought, there was a church there that I was able to speak at, one of the churches. And I said, well, what time do we start? And they said, when everybody gets here. That's what time you start. And you finish, you don't. This was an all-day event. You show up, and there's some speaking, and after they had grills there. They started cooking food, and the whole village was there. Everybody just showing up from all over the place. And then when they got done, guess what they did? They socialized a little bit, and then they started speaking again. And this was all day long. They worshiped on Sunday all day long. And we're just dying to get out because we got to beat everybody else. We got things going on, right? And anyway, as she was saying, she was crying about all the poverty, and I thought, who's poor? We're spiritually poor. Go knock on somebody's door around, and if they open the door, they rarely have time. Really? I want to hear you, yeah, okay. But I just don't have time because I've got things that I've got to do. I've got all this stuff to do, so I don't have time for this. So who's poor? I don't know. Yes, I do know. We are. I don't care how much money we got. All that money is just distractions. All those things you have is just distractions. All those phones are distractions. I hate to say it, but it is. You know it is, right? You know it is. We just can't give them up. All right, so we need to start in the right place. Now, here's the thing. We do not need, now listen carefully to me when I say this. We do not need an addition of Jesus in our life. You don't need to come to somebody and say, oh, you got everything, you got the nice house, you got the nice car, you got a good job. You need Jesus and everything in your life is complete. We don't need an addition of Jesus in our life. We need an addiction of Jesus in our life. That needs to be everything that we think about. When we wake up in the morning, that's what we think about. It's an addiction. You understand what an addiction is? Okay, there was I remember a few years back, this was like maybe 4 years or so, that I remember there was a girl screaming hysterically at school. And I thought, what the world's going on? I mean, she was hysterical, shaking. You know that kind of crying where you're just, like you take a toy from a little bitty kid? She's just going crazy, like her world's ending. She's hysterical. She's laying on the floor, and she was right at the entrance of the bathroom, at the girls' bathroom. She's just laid out on the floor, hysterical. And it was a student that I had. So I went and to see if she's okay. I thought she's dying or something bad, or maybe, somebody died. Well, here's what happened. She was in a math class, and the math teacher, she had a phone out, said, "You put your phone up." That's all he said. Just put your phone up. So she went hysterical, not because he took her phone, the thought of having her phone taken away. She couldn't take it. She couldn't stand it. Guys, listen, that's an addiction. That's a bad addiction, right? There's some addiction. I know that there's some people, and I'm not staying on the phone thing, it's just an easy thing because it's an addiction, and I see it all the time. It's just, I've heard adults that have lost their jobs because they can't put their phones up. They can't get rid of the phones, those. Lose your job. So some people have to have it on them all the time. It has to be on them. They can't leave it at home and go. Just can't do it. When Heather, y'all know Heather, yes, that's my little Heather. Heather was at West High. So she said, this is my daughter, and I never told her to do this. She put her phone in her locker and locked it up. I don't know many people that do that. She locked it up. She said, "I don't need a phone. Nobody needs to get a hold of me. I'm at school and I have things to do. And that's what I'm focused on. And I'm not worried about talking to everybody else. They can talk to me at the end of school." But she would lock it up in her locker just to get that temptation away. And I know that there are some people that they have to have it on them all the time. They're constantly touching it just to make sure it's still there. And here's the problem. When that addiction becomes so bad that your mind's there, it's not there. You're thinking, "I wish somebody texted me." I don't know. It's an addiction. We all know what an addiction is. All right. So I can read you. Listen to this. This is in Philippians chapter 1, 20 through 24. Listen to what Paul says. "According to my earnest expectation and my hope that in nothing I shall be ashamed, but that with all boldness as always, so now also Christ shall be magnified in my body, whether it be by life or by death." He's saying, I want Christ magnified whether I'm living or whether I'm dead. "For to me to live is Christ and to die is gain. But if I live in the flesh, this is the fruit of my labor. Yet what shall I choose? I want not. For I am in a strait betwixt two." In other words, he's saying, I don't know what to do. Do I live or do I die? I was like, I don't know. Having the desire to depart. You know what that means, to depart? He's saying, I have a desire that I just want to die, so that I can be with Jesus. And to be with Christ, which is far better. Nevertheless, to abide in the flesh is more needful for you. Now, does that sound like somebody that's addicted to Jesus? That is so addicted. Do y'all know, you ever sat with somebody that's addicted to drugs? They want that drug so bad that they're willing to die. They don't care. They know that it's going to kill them eventually. They don't know. You can tell them, take one more, it's going to kill you. Don't care. They're addicted. Paul's so addicted, he's saying, I don't care if I die. That's